I'm going to go over the process of figuring out where you have open spaces and where you don't have open spaces. To do that, we need to first click on the Layers tab, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see. And you can tell right here on the tracing layer that I have, you can see the blue there, those are all my paths. And if I option click on those, click on that square, you'll see over here that everything gets selected. Everything on the entire image has a, every path and anchor point has been selected. So now that I have that done, if I go to properties, and instead of having no fill, if I give it some kind of a bright fill, I'll be able to see exactly where, there we go, exactly where I'm missing triangles. This gives me the ability to see everything out there. The only reason we didn't do this to start is because as you're filling this in, it does make it kind of confusing if you're covering up things. So we traced it with open shapes, but now that we have the majority of them completed, now we can go back with the pen tool. I can command click out here. You can see that my stroke and my shapes are all full, and I can go back through here now and I can fill in these open spaces very quickly. They're going to fill in with the blue and the yellow there on my example. So after I get, let's pretend that I have all these selected now. I have everything is filled in. So if I option click on the layer, it selects the entire layer again. And if I turn the properties of the fill, if I turn the fill off using that red slash, and I turn the stroke to a color of some sort, I chose black this time. Now I can use the selection tool, which is the open arrow up at the top left one, selection tool. And as I click on a shape, it will select that shape. So it'll look like this. And then what I'd like to do is use the eyedropper tool. Click on the eyedropper, and I'm going to click someplace in here that is like the average of all the colors that are in that part, and it will fill that with that color. So if I jump back over to V, I'm just jumping on the keyboard here, V, jumps me to the selection tool. I can click on another one. I press the I for the eyedropper tool, and I click on a color. V, select a triangle. I, click on the inside someplace. V, triangle. I, click on a color. And eventually what happens is you're going to find that you have, this thing will have a flat color, and every shape will be a different hue or a different color. If you wanted to, you could use the same colors, select a couple of the different shapes, and just use the same color. So if I wanted to select V, I'm going to select this one right here. That selected a whole bunch. I have to fix that. That selected a bunch. Why is it selecting so many? Oh, because I tried to draw too many shapes at a time. That's why it was. So if I want to use the same color right here on this section, I could come over here and click there, and it would fill this one in with whatever the same color is over here. So you can use individual colors. There we go. V, then I. I'm just bouncing back and forth. Shape, I. Yep. So this is the next process. Is trying to match all these different things. I'm going to hit the I here. Okay, so one thing you might notice is that as you're filling these in, sometimes, as in this case right here, we end up with a spot that did fill in when I tried to fill everything, but now for some reason I can't find the triangle that fits in this corner. And so what I'll actually end up doing is going to the pen tool, starting here on the anchor, and redrawing this one, and it should fill in with no fill color, allowing me to go back through and adjust this as needed. So I can come back, I can hit the eye tool for the eyedropper and click on that and fill that one in. And now you can see that it has a fill color there. So go back to the selection tool. I selected this one. Click the eye and continue. And as I'm doing this, you can start to see the face in here. There are a lot of colors. There are some different techniques. So another technique you could use for this is to come up with another layer, develop a palette, and use the eyedropper tool, which is right here, to come through and find different colors that you would like to have in the image. So if you have a specific set of colors that you would like to use, I know this white right here, grayish white, looks nice. I have, there's another one. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool, maybe get some of this yellower color. Use the eyedropper, get down here, maybe some of this darker gray. And so I end up with a, instead of having a lot of colors at the end of my drawing, I'm going to end up with a set number of colors that I could use to color this this picture, and it would look very nice at the end. So there's, I think, what I'm going to use as my palette. There are 8 colors, and then I could trace the entire image. And instead of having a bunch of colors like this, I could use these specific colors to fill in the different areas of the image. Okay, so now that I think I'm done, I'm going to add a new layer underneath the tracing layer. And what this is going to do is let me see the spots that I missed. So I zoom back out, and I draw a big square on layer 4. I'm going to change the color to a yellow. Draw a big square. And you can see, let's change that color to something a little sharper. There we go. That's a lot sharper. That'll help us see the spots that I missed. So now when I go back here, and I can come down to this area and use my pen tool. Now, because I have this red background, I can use the pen tool and I can draw in these squares. And some of these colors will match. I might have to change a couple. There we go. So now I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it as it is. I still have 2 little triangles to fill in. Whoop, there's one up there. I think I need to do that one still. There we go. Those other 2 triangles, I'm going to fill a background color possibly, or maybe I'll just leave it like it is. I think it looks pretty good. One last thing to do is to option click on your tracing layer and turn that stroke off. That way when you look at your image, you don't have those black lines or blue lines or purple lines or whatever on there. So if I turn off the background layer, you can see that I'm left with a pretty good representation of the original drawing. So I am going to select everything here, maybe move it over to the side, turn this layer back on, click off someplace. Pretty darn close. And that is one way, not the only way, that is one way to create a low poly piece of art.